Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing your guys' Letterboxd accounts. So for today I'll be reviewing only one of your guys' accounts, and maybe in another video I can review another one. But yeah, before you get started, make sure you subscribe, give this a big thumbs up, and comment down below your Letterboxd accounts so I can feature you guys in a future video if I do one. But yeah, so let's get started. So the account that we'll be looking at today is J Lover. So it looks like, we're going to be looking at, her top 4 favorites, and we're going to also be looking at her scoring system, see how they score their movies and everything. Do they give everything 5 stars, or are they, stingy with their ratings? And I'm going to also watch like their top 4 basically. So I already watched their top 4. Some of these movies I already watched them, and some of them I watched them specifically so I can review. But their top 4 favorites are Debs, Bones and All, and then 2 TV series, which is The Maid, or I guess just Maid, and Tteokbokki's original Sin. So I'm going to be giving you guys a summary on all of those movies, and then we can get into, my opinions and also her account. So the first movie on her top 4 is Debs, or Debs, and I was surprised because I had no idea what this movie is about. I have never heard of this movie, until I saw her top 4, so I'm really glad. So I'm going to read for you guys the summary of Debs, then I'm going to give you guys my opinion. Let's get started. Okay, so Debs, directed by Angela Robinson in 2004. Now I'm going to read the summary. Evil is so totally busted. The star of a team of teenage crime fighters falls for the alluring villainess she must bring to justice. So on Letterboxd, this is rated a 3.7. I rated it a 3.5. And I'm going to be talking more about it. But it basically that showed everything. So basically it mainly focuses on these 4 girl spies, but it's like a spy school, all of them go to it, and they basically fight crimes and fight villains and everything. But in this, or when we see them, they're fighting. Her name is Lucy Diamond, and basically they're trying to find her, because she is a villain and she's a criminal, and they're trying to take her down. But the main character, I think her name is Amy, ends up falling in love with Lucy Dunn, and at the end they end up being in a relationship. But obviously, throughout half of the movie she kind of ends up sleeping with her and all of that, and having this relationship with her, while her other, I guess, spy teammates are trying to look for her and kill her. But yeah, so, and in the end, Amy ends up being with Lucy. And I really like this. I've never heard of this film, so I'm really, and I did not think it was going to be good, but it was actually pretty fun, and I enjoyed it, a lot. So, the second film on her Letterboxd top 4 is Bones and All, directed by Luca Guadagnino in 2022, and it stars Timothy Chalamet and Taylor Russell, I think her name is. Anyways, and Taylor. So I love this movie. This is a movie that I've already watched, and I rated it a 5 stars. This is rated 3.7. Okay, now it is a movie where you either are gonna hate this type of film or you're gonna love it. I feel like all of Luca's films are like this. You're either gonna love it or hate it. But if you want me to do a separate video talking only about Luca Guadagnino's film, I would love to do it. Talk about all his films. I love his movies. But yeah, I'm gonna read you guys the summary, then I'll talk more about it. So, you can't run from who you are. Abandoned by her father, a young woman embarks on a 1,000-mile odyssey through the backgrounds of America, where she meets Drifter. But despite their best efforts, all roads lead back to their terrifying past and to final stand that will determine whether their love can survive or otherness. So basically, this is based on a book. Now, I have not read the book to compare, but I did like hear about the differences of the movie and book. So they're not like 100% similar, like they don't go on the same storyline, but like the main subject of the film is that, you know, these are humans who have tendencies of eating other humans, basically. And, you know, only like a certain amount of people have this disease or problem or whatever, and one of them is our girl here, Marin, who, you know, gets abandoned by her father because her mother had the same type of condition. Now, the father knew this because, you know, since she was like, I think a baby, like her babysitter, I don't know if I can say that word, but she killed her babysitter, obviously. She like ate her. And yeah, so he ended up abandoning her because that night she ran away to go to a sleepover, and she ended up biting a finger of one of the girls, and that's when he knew, like, oh, she's dangerous, like, I need to leave her. So he basically left her, and we see her embark on this journey where she goes around, you know, America, and she explores, and she's just trying to find herself. And the main thing, like, throughout half of the movie, she was trying to find her mother because she wants to know who she is and she wants to understand herself, you know, better. But when she finally meets her mother, she sees herself as this monster, and she does not want to end up being like her. Now, obviously, like, almost like throughout the beginning of the film, she meets with, his name is Lee, and they basically, you know, when they first meet each other, like, they both look at each other at the same time because these types of people can smell other eaters. They call them eaters. So, like, eaters can seek out other eaters, if that makes sense. Basically, you know, fall in love and everything, and throughout their journey together, they end up meeting other eaters, and one of them ends up killing Lee and his sister. And we obviously, throughout the movie, we learn more about Lee and his past and his family, and so with Marin and all of that. But this movie is, it's such a complex theme that I think was executed perfectly. Like, the scenery was amazing, the camera work, everything is just perfect, and I love the outfits, especially Lee's. But yeah, this movie was like amazing, and I like how, you know, this is a romance. It is suggested as a romance, but I would say the romance is more like in the background, because I feel like this is just two people trying to figure out who they are together while they're in love, I guess. So, and in this scenario, they're both eaters. But yeah, I love this movie. I gave it a 5. Perfect choice to put on your top 4. This was on my top 4 at some point on Letterboxd. This movie is amazing. Now, I don't know if you're gonna like it, because I am telling you, this is such like a niche topic that only like a certain amount of people would appreciate and enjoy this. So the third I guess movie on your Letterboxd is actually a TV series directed by John Wells and Nzinga Stewart. I apologize for mispronouncing that. It is released in 2021, and it is Made, which is another book adaptation, but the book was based on a real person. Like, she's the one who wrote the book, and then from the book they made the show. So I'm going to read the summary, then I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my opinions. So, hard work, low pay, and a mother's will to survive. After fleeing an abusive relationship, a young mother finds a job cleaning houses as she fights to provide for her child and build them a better future. This was rated 4.3 on Letterboxd, but yeah, it basically follows our main character, I forgot her name, but played by Margaret Qualley, or Qualley. Also, her mother is in this movie. She actually plays her mother, which is ironic, but whatever. And she is basically this female in this abusive relationship, and they have a daughter together, and she ends up fleeing one night, you know, because he's really abusive, and she just got scared that night. I mean, she always wanted to run away, but she was just scared. But that night she was like, that's it, I'm leaving. So she ran away with her daughter, like literally only in their pajamas, and like her daughter had like this stuffed animal and or like a mermaid, and like they got into the car and they ran away. And basically she ends up being a maid and cleaning all these people's houses, and you just see like her in these other houses. Some of them are extremely rich. Like the main house that they focus on is this like lawyer's house, and she's childless. She can't have children. Her life is basically miserable in her eyes, but you know, the maid is like, wow, her life is amazing. If only like I was like her. And when she was like cleaning the house, she was like imagining herself living here with her daughter. But yeah, throughout the movie basically we see her struggles. You know, we see her boyfriend trying to, you know, get, I think the girl's name is Maddie, like their child, but they were trying to get Maddie's custody, and obviously he had more resources because he was working at the time, and obviously she still didn't get her maid job. But yeah, so he got a lawyer, she did not. She was literally defending herself in court, so they ended up splitting custody, but she wanted like full custody, okay? But then, you know, throughout the movie we see her obviously find the job, and then we see her move from house to house because they were kicking her out because like her boyfriend like barged in or whatever. She ends up meeting this architect. You know, they hit it off, and he was like, he really liked her, but she wanted to like, I forgot where she wanted to go, but she wanted to go like to a different state to, you know, to go to college. That's why she wanted the full custody, because she wanted Maddie with her. But yeah, throughout the movie obviously she works hard, she gains a little bit of money, you know, a lot of people help her, especially that woman who's a lawyer. She hooks her up with another lawyer friend, and they end up getting full custody. But this is like towards the end of the movie. But yeah, we basically just see her obviously like during some points of the movie like she was going back to her boyfriend, and yeah, there's a lot of attachment issues in this movie, but it's realistic. You feel bad for the characters. And yeah, this is based on a real like woman who wrote a book named Maid, and then from that book they adapted this series. So yeah, I gave the show a 4, I think, or 4.5. I think I gave it a 4. But yeah, okay. And then the last movie on her top 4 on Letterboxd is another series, but it is an animated series. It is Takopi's original Sin, directed by Shinya Lino. I'm not gonna even finish that. I apologize. In 2025. Oh, it's recent. I didn't know it was 2025. But it's basically, read the summary. A happy alien, Takopi, lands on Earth with one mission: to spread happiness. When he meets Shizuka, a lonely 4th grader, he vows to bring her smile back using his powers. So this is rated a 4.3 on Letterboxd. I rated it a 4, and it's basically about this like alien type creature, but he's basically like on Earth to spread happiness. And he meets this girl, and you know, she's a 4th grader, and she gets extremely bullied by this blonde girl. I don't remember the name, so I'm gonna just say their hair color. So this blonde girl bullies this other girl in the same class immensely, and that little alien is trying to help her out. So, but then like the plot twist is pretty good too. Like we find out that when they end up killing her, the blonde girl, the alien ends up killing the blonde girl. But yeah, like at the end, like it reverses, and basically like the blob came to the blonde girl first because the other girl was bullying her and everything. Yeah, it's pretty fun, I would say. I mean, I'm not that big of an anime fan. Like I've watched a couple of animes in my life, but this was really good. It was heart-wrenching because, you know, it centers around a lot of abuse. Not only, you know, abuse that's dedicated towards children, but also, you know, in relationships, you know, because there was a lot of abuse going on between the parents. And a lot of people-pleasing, like how it is, you know, if you're a people-pleaser and everything. So I really like what this anime is talking about, and I really think it's a good one. So I rated this a 4 stars. But yeah, those were your top 4. Now I'm going to just look at your account a little bit. It's like your ratings are, you know, mostly good ratings. Like you give some movies like 3 stars, 2, 5, 4, which I think is the best type of ratings, because like some accounts you go and you see everything is rated like extremely low or everything's rated like extremely high and all of that. But it looks like you've watched 80 films this year, or it looks like you've watched 88 films that you've logged into your Letterboxd, but you've watched 40 films this year specifically. So the films that you watched, obviously, Taco P's Original Sin, Superman, Materialist. I really want to watch Materialist. We have the Final Destination movie, which I did watch. It was okay. We have Black Mirror episodes. I have not watched all of them, but I've watched some of them. I think Black Mirror is extremely hyped. Like, I get they can't, like, you don't feel that attached to the characters because it's like a 15-minute episode. Like, how are you gonna, you know, get attached to these characters? But I feel like Black Mirror would have been like more successful if they made the episodes a little bit longer, or if like kind of like American Horror Story, like each season follows like a certain theme, or like half a season follows like a certain theme, or maybe even 2 episodes, you know. But I feel like we don't get enough with just 1 episode, if that makes sense. I've watched some of them. You guys can go check out my Letterboxd. It's right here, or linked in the description box down below. But I've watched some Black Mirror episodes. I liked some of them I did not, but I'd like to continue on watching like all of them. So we have Sinners, which I have not watched yet. We have Together, which I do want to watch. We have Companion, which I did enjoy. So yeah, it looks like we have a lot of newer things and a lot of like trending things. You know, Last Night in Soho is pretty good too. But yeah, Black Swan. I really want to watch Donnie Darko and also Possession. But yeah, that's really nice. Like, I really enjoyed your Letterboxd, J-Lover. So if you want me to review your guys' letterboxes, leave them in the comments down below, and I would do that. But yeah, be sure to go check out J-Lover's Letterboxd. I'll leave it in the description box below. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!